Welcome to GridironNow.com studios. I'm Amanda Borges. Welcome to our first segment of Ask Frank. Each episode, I'll hit up Frank Frangie here with key questions about SEC football. Okay, Frank, it's upon us. The 2015 college football season. Let's start with Auburn. Everyone is in love with Auburn. Do you agree?
You know, I kind of do. Everyone's fallen in love with this Auburn team for a couple of reasons, Amanda. Number one, they've got the best play caller in the world in Gus Malzahn. They've combined him with a great defensive coordinator in Will Muschamp. Look, Muschamp might have struggled as the head coach at Florida, but he's a great defensive coordinator. They get back Carl Lawson, who's a terrific defensive player. The intrigue is Jeremy Johnson, the quarterback. People are making it out like he's Cam Newton. I've got to see it. If he's that good, why didn't he play a little bit more when Nick Marshall was there? But I like Auburn's team. Here's what else I like. The fact that when they play Alabama, the game is at Auburn. So, yeah, I kind of buy the Auburn hype. Everyone's got hype going. I buy it.
Well, you brought up Alabama. So what about Alabama? Everyone that voted in the poll have them against or ahead of Auburn.
Yeah, here's what bothers me a little bit about Alabama, Amanda. Why couldn't they pick a quarterback? Now, look, I know this quarterback can't pick epidemic thing is nationwide, right? But I'm a little concerned that it took this long to pick a quarterback at Alabama. Everyone says, well, the Alabama quarterback doesn't matter. Well, the Alabama quarterback does matter, and they had a heck of a time picking one. Everybody thought Jake Coker would leave FSU and get to Alabama and kind of be the guy. Well, he wasn't the guy last year. Doesn't look like he's the guy this year. The good thing is Lane Kiffin, for all the problems he might have had, is a very good coordinator. He took Blake Sims, who's really a running back, and turned him into a terrific quarterback. The big difference between Alabama and Auburn, for me, is because the game is at Auburn. I like Alabama. I like Auburn better.
In the past, Frank, all the questions about the SEC West had to involve LSU, but this year, has LSU lost its fastball?
That's a great question. Everyone asks about LSU. I think LSU, Amanda, still has great athletes. I think they've got really good players. They've had quarterback problems. Let me tell you what's happened with LSU. In the past, it was Alabama and LSU. Auburn would jump in every now and then, but it was Alabama and LSU, at least in recent memory. The problem is the West has gotten so good. Think about this. Ole Miss has got 3 first-round draft picks, if you think about it. Treadwell, Tunsil, Kimdichie, all are first-round draft picks. What about Mississippi State? They might have the first overall draft pick and the Heisman winner in Dak Prescott. What about Texas A&M? Well, they're going to throw it all over the place. They're going to score a bunch of points on everybody. Even Arkansas with Brett Bielema, they're going to play that hard-nosed I-formation football. So there's no gimmies. The problem with LSU is not that LSU's bad all of a sudden. They've still got great athletes. There's just so many good players, so many good teams in the West. That's what I think makes it tough.
Well, now that we're talking about the West, are there any sleepers?
You know what, Amanda? I like Arkansas. I like Brett Bielema. I like the fact that he's not afraid to do it his way. Number one, he took what people thought was a lateral move because he went from a very good program, Wisconsin, in the Big Ten, and all of a sudden does the same thing or goes to Arkansas, which is a similar program in the SEC. He came and said, look, we're going to play I-formation football. We're going to play line of scrimmage football. We're going to run it and run it and run it. And I think he thinks he's got a pretty good team. Lost Jonathan Williams, who's a terrific back, but he still has Alex Collins, who's another great back. Watch out for Arkansas. That's my sleeper. If there's a sleeper, watch out for Arkansas.
I think I know where you stand on the West, so let's switch gears to the East. Rumor has it you picked Tennessee to win the division.
The Florida people are laughing, right, because they haven't beaten them in 10 years, but I like this Tennessee team. I think Butch Jones has recruited more good athletes in recent years than just about anybody, and I think they're playing with a passion. They're on the same page. Butch, of all the disappointing things that happened for Tennessee for a long time now, Butch Jones has made them believe, and I think they do believe. I think they've got a lot of athletes. Now, my question is the quarterback, Josh Dobbs. I think he's a great kid. He's a smart kid. I don't know if he's an accurate enough passer. Eventually, you got to hit the open guy. So I think Tennessee's got the best team. I'm picking them to win the East. Dobbs is my question, not as a kid. Smart kid, great leader. Is he accurate enough? But I like Tennessee. I think they're the best team in the East.
Well, Frank, most people are picking Georgia. So what do you not like about the Dogs?
You know what? I like Georgia. 2 or 3 things about Georgia that bothers me. Number one, they took a while to pick their quarterback, too. I'm surprised Grayson Lambert won that job, the transfer from Virginia. Everybody thought Bryce Ramsey would win the job. I thought Bryce Ramsey would win it. That surprised me a little bit that Bryce Ramsey won the job, or that Lambert won the job. That has something to do with it. Georgia also has a habit of losing games they're supposed to win, Amanda. They lose games that they shouldn't lose. So I'm concerned about that. Last year, Florida had no business beating Georgia last year, and they laid it to them. So that's a concern. I think Georgia's got a good football team. I think Tennessee wins the division.
2 teams we haven't talked about, the old ball coach in South Carolina and Florida. Do they factor into any of this?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? South Carolina, ball coach thinks he has a good team. You know, it's one thing about Spurrier in Birmingham when we were with him at the SEC Media Days. The reason I think he got kind of testy about that retirement stuff is I think he thinks he's got a good team. He picked Connor Mitch as his quarterback. Took a while to pick his quarterback, maybe longer than I would have thought. Didn't have a lot to choose from. Scarnecchia and Orth, the two kids from Florida that he brought from Florida to South Carolina, are okay. They're not as talented as Mitch, but the ball coach thinks he has a good team. I think he's got a good team, not as good as Tennessee. Florida's the X factor. Florida's a real interesting team in that division. You know they've got a great defense. With apologies to Alabama, I think Florida's got the best defense in the SEC. But what will they be on offense? Really young offensive line, guys that haven't played very much, young quarterbacks, one freshman, redshirt freshman, one sophomore that played a little bit. I don't know if they're going to be any good at all on offense. I think they're going to be very good on defense. Nobody really knows the McElwain factor. I think they're the most interesting team. They're the wild card in the SEC. Intrigued. I'm not going to pick them ahead of Tennessee and Georgia, though.
All right, let's reel it in. Frank says Auburn versus Tennessee for the title. So, Frank, who's the winner in that matchup?
Yeah, you know what? I drank the Kool-Aid, didn't I? Auburn and Tennessee. I like them both. For me, though, I think it's Auburn. I think Tennessee's got the best team in the East. I think the West, still, Amanda, is way better. So I'll take Auburn to win the whole thing, narrowly really over Alabama in that division. I think Auburn, with Malzahn and Muschamp together, is going to win the SEC.
So that's a wrap on our first edition of Ask Frank. We have plenty more of that to come, as well as the best SEC football content on the web. Just log on to gridironnow.com.